I always thought winter was cold, but nothing was colder than the man I married. Thank you so much for your support on this channel. If you haven't subscribed yet, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button and join our growing community at Cherryboyhearts BL. Your support means a lot and helps us keep sharing more amazing stories. Now, sit back, relax, and let the story begin. My name is Haruto Sato, and 3 months ago, I became the husband of Lucien Kurigane, the richest CEO in the whole city. People said I was lucky. People said I won a golden life. But they did not know anything at all. They did not know that my marriage had no love, no warmth, and no soft words. They did not know I married him only to give my little boy, Ren, a safe place to live. The day I signed the contract, the snow fell hard outside. I remembered my hands shaking as I looked at the paper. It said Lucien would give my son and me a home, food, safety, and money for school. In return, I had to marry him and pretend to be his partner in public. He never promised love. He never promised care. He only promised protection. I agreed because I had nothing else. Ren was only 4 years old, and I wanted him to grow up warm and happy. I wanted him to have what I never had. So I signed. I told myself it was fine. I told myself I would get used to it. But I was wrong. The first night in Lucien's huge mansion, I realized something. I was just a ghost in his world. The place was beautiful, white stone floors, tall ceilings, gold lights, and long halls that echoed when you walked. But even with the heat on, it felt cold. Maybe because Lucien barely looked at me. He walked past me like I was made of air. He spoke to me only when he had to. "Breakfast is at 7, he said the first morning. "Please sign these documents," he said the next afternoon. "You may go now," he said that night. Not once did he ask if I slept well. Not once did he ask how Ren was. Not once did he call my name with any warmth. Still, I tried. I tried so hard. I woke up early to make tea for him. I waited for him when he came home late. I asked him about his day. I smiled when he entered a room. But he never smiled back. His silver-gray eyes stayed cold, like frozen metal. Sometimes he looked at me for 1 second longer, as if something was stirring under the ice. But it always disappeared before I could understand it. Ren tried to. My little boy would peek from behind my legs whenever Lucien walked by. Ren had big brown eyes, soft hair, and a shy smile. One day he whispered to me, "Papa, can I hold his hand?" My heart squeezed. I said, "Maybe one day." But Lucien only watched Ren from far away. Like Ren was something he wanted to touch but didn't know how. Every day felt the same. Lonely mornings, quiet afternoons, cold nights. I would walk through the mansion, hearing my footsteps echo. The mansion was full of people. Maids, chefs, drivers, but somehow I always felt alone. I felt like a guest in my own life. I felt like Lucien would never care no matter what I did. And then December came. Christmas lights filled the city. Snow fell every night. Ren kept talking about Santa and gifts and cookies. But inside the mansion, nothing felt like Christmas. No soft music. No warm fire. No decorations. Just empty halls and the cold air between Lucien and me. I kept hoping he would speak to me more. I kept hoping he would sit beside me. I kept hoping he would look at me like a real husband. But hope is heavy when you carry it alone. And I was tired. So tired. One night, I sat on the edge of my bed. Ren was already asleep beside me, curled under his blanket. I watched the snowfall outside, and something inside me broke. I realized I could not chase Lucien anymore. I could not keep giving when nothing came back. I needed to choose myself. I needed to choose Ren. My hands trembled as I stood up and walked out to the balcony where Lucien stood, talking on his phone. His back was straight. His suit was perfect. His voice was deep and calm, like nothing in the world could move him. When he finished the call, he turned to leave, but then he saw me. His eyes paused on my face. For a moment, I felt naked under his gaze, like he saw every part of me I was trying to hide. I took a small breath. "I need to tell you something," I said softly. He tilted his head a little. "What is it?" My heart beat hard against my ribs. My hands were cold. My voice shook. but I forced the words out. This Christmas, I won't disturb you anymore. The moment I said it, the air seemed to freeze. Lucian's eyes widened just a little. His jaw clenched tight. His hand curled at his side, like he wanted to grab something but didn't. I expected him to say, "Good." I expected him to turn away, but he didn't. He just stared at me, silent, breath sharp and uneven. I had never seen him look like that. For the first time, I felt something hot under his cold mask. Something like fear or anger or maybe desire. My chest tightened. I waited for him to speak. I thought he would say something harsh or cold. But after a long moment, he only whispered, "Haruto." Just my name. Just one word. But it felt like heat sliding over my skin. I stepped back, scared of what that heat meant. Scared of how much I still wanted warmth from him. Before he could come closer, I bowed my head. "Good night, Lucian." I walked away. As I left, I could feel his eyes burning into my back. I could feel the air thick with something we both didn't want to name. That night, I tucked Rin into bed. He wrapped his little arms around me and said, "Papa, will this Christmas be happy?" I smiled at him even though my heart hurt. "Yes, Rin, I'll make sure it is." I brushed his hair and kissed his forehead. I told him stories until his eyes closed. His breathing became soft and slow, and I held his tiny hand. The room was warm, and the soft night light made everything feel gentle. I felt tears in my eyes because Run deserved a real family. He deserved love, and I didn't know if Lucian would ever give him that. I finally stood up and turned to leave the room. But then I felt something. A shift in the air. Presence behind me. I looked toward the doorway and I froze. Lucian stood there in the shadows. He leaned against the wall, arms crossed, his eyes fixed on me. The dim golden light touched his face, making his sharp jawline stand out. His eyes were darker than usual, softer too, but full of something that made my heart twist in my chest. He watched the way I kissed Rin. He watched the way I held him. He watched me like he wanted to be the one sleeping in my arms. His jaw tightened again. His eyes lowered for a moment, then traveled back up my body, slow, almost hungry. I felt my breath catch. He didn't speak. He didn't move. He just watched, like I was something he wished he could claim. Something he had already lost without even knowing it. The room felt too small for both of us. Too warm. Too dangerous. Lucian's voice was low when he finally whispered, "Good night, Haruto." My whole body shivered. Not from fear. Not from the cold. But from the heat I had tried so hard to bury. "Good night," I said, barely able to breathe. I walked past him, but his eyes followed me all the way down the hall. I didn't need to turn back to know. I could feel it. I could feel him. That night was the first time I realized something was changing. Lucian was watching me now, and something in him was melting, slowly, painfully, like ice meeting fire. I didn't know what it meant yet. I didn't know if it would save us, or break us even more. But it was the first time I felt wanted. Even if it was only a spark, and sparks could burn. I woke up the next morning with a strange calm inside me. It was the kind of calm that hurt. The kind that felt like cold water running through my chest. After what I told Lucian yesterday, after saying I would not disturb him anymore, I felt something inside me close like a quiet door. I did not wait for him to return last night. I did not stand by the stairs and pretend I just happened to be awake. I did not leave the lights on for him. Instead, I went to bed early with Run in my arms and tried to breathe. So today I started my plan. I stopped chasing Lucian. No more waiting up for him. No more serving him tea like a scared little rabbit. No more smiling at him even when he didn't look at me. I was done. I walked downstairs holding Ren's hand, and the mansion felt different, even though nothing had changed. The halls were still long and cold. The floors still shiny and empty. But the silence felt heavier now, like someone else was also feeling it. I walked past the living room. Lucian sat on the sofa with his laptop open. He looked perfect as always. Silver eyes sharp, black hair smooth, suit straight and cold like him. But I didn't stop to greet him. I didn't bow. I didn't even give a small smile. I just walked with Run and whispered, "Come on, baby, let's eat breakfast." For the first time ever, I felt Lucian's eyes on my back. It burned. When I stepped into the dining room, the staff greeted me kindly. I greeted them the same way. I smiled gently and thanked them for their work. It was the first time I smiled all morning. But when I sat there eating with Run, I noticed something strange in the corner of my eye. Lucian stood by the doorway, half hidden, watching me. His face looked stiff. His jaw was tight, and his eyes looked darker than normal. He didn't say anything. He just stared. And he didn't look happy. I ignored him. When Ren finished eating, I took him upstairs to get ready for Christmas shopping. I needed to buy him a new red coat and maybe some toys. I also wanted to see Christmas lights with him. He loved them. As I helped Ren put on his boots, he asked in his small voice, "Mama, is Papa angry?" My heart tightened. "Why do you think so?" "Because he keeps staring at you like this." Ren scrunched his eyebrows and tried to copy Lucian's scary look. I laughed softly, even though it hurt. "Don't worry, Papa is fine." But deep inside, I didn't know. Maybe Lucian was angry that I stopped running after him. Maybe he just liked being chased. Maybe he didn't like being ignored by someone he didn't care about. Whatever it was, I didn't want to think about him today. I held Ren's hand and walked out the front door. I didn't tell Lucian. I didn't leave a note. I didn't explain anything. For the first time since our marriage, I lived my own life. At the Christmas market, the city was bright with decorations. Red ribbons, golden stars, snowflakes, glowing bells. Everything felt warm even though the air was cold. Rin pointed at everything, jumping excitedly. "Mama, look, a giant snowman." "Yes, baby. It's so big." I laughed, lifting him into my arms. For the first time in weeks, I felt light. I felt human. I walked around buying small things. Hot chocolate for Ren, ginger cookies, and a little Santa hat that Ren refused to take off. The shopkeepers smiled kindly at us. I smiled back, and then a voice called my name. "Haruto." I turned and saw Daichi, an old friend from my past job. He looked handsome and warm, wearing a brown coat and a friendly smile. "It's really you," he said. "I haven't seen you in months." I smiled politely. "Yes. It's been a long time." He looked at Ren. "And this must be your son." "Wow, he's adorable." Ren hid behind my leg. Daichi laughed. "Still shy, huh?" He stepped closer to give me a warm hug, but he never reached me. A large hand grabbed his shoulder from behind. A cold voice cut the air like ice. "That's close enough." My heart stopped. Lucian stood there, tall, silent, dangerous. His silver eyes were icy and sharp, locked on Daichi with a glare I had never seen before. He looked like he wanted to crush him. Daichi stepped back, confused. Do I know you?" Lucian answered with a voice so low it felt like thunder. "You don't need to." Then he moved. He stepped in front of me so fast, it felt like wind rushed past my body. His arm blocked me, like he was shielding me. His body was so close I could feel the heat of it against my chest. Lucian glared at Daichi. "He is not available." I froze. Daichi blinked. I didn't say he was." Lucian stepped closer, voice dropping even colder. "Leave." Daichi looked at me helplessly. "Haruto, should I go?" I opened my mouth, but Lucian's hand moved behind me and pressed lightly on the small of my back. The touch was soft but strong. A message. "Don't say no. Don't stop me. You're mine." I swallowed. "Daichi, it's okay. I'll see you around." Daichi nodded slowly. "All right. Take care, Haruto." When he left, the air grew tighter. Lucian didn't look at me. He didn't speak. He just stood there breathing hard, fists clenched. He had tracked my location. I could feel it. There was no other way he knew where I was. Ren tugged on my coat. "Papa? Why are you here?" Lucian finally looked at me. His eyes were not cold now. They were burning. For a second, I almost forgot to breathe. Back at the mansion, the ride home was tense. Lucian sat beside me too close. His thigh brushed against mine. His hand rested on top of the seat behind my shoulders. almost touching me. But neither of us said a word. When we reached the mansion, I took Ren upstairs and got him ready for bed. Lucian followed us like a shadow, but he stayed silent. He leaned on the doorframe and watched me tuck Ren in. The same way he watched me this morning. But this time his eyes were softer, almost hungry. When I finished reading Ren a story and turned to leave, I found Lucian blocking the hallway. He didn't move. He didn't let me pass. His voice was low and rough. "Haruto," I swallowed. "Yes." "Why?" he whispered. "Are you ignoring me?" My heart jumped. His face was close. Too close. His breath brushed my cheek. His eyes looked angry, but also hurt. I took a slow breath. "Because you never wanted me in the first place." The words came out quiet but sharp, like a small knife. Lucian froze. His jaw tightened. His eyes widened slightly, like he didn't expect the truth to sound so heavy. For a moment, he looked lost, like a child who had broken something precious and didn't know how to fix it. He stepped back, just 1 inch, but it felt like a storm moved with him. I walked past him without another word. My heart was shaking. I didn't know if he followed me. I didn't look. I closed my bedroom door and stayed there with my heartbeat loud in my ears. Late at night, I finally fell asleep holding Ren's small hand. But sometime in the night, I woke to a soft sound outside my door. Boxes. Big boxes. Many of them. When I opened the door, the entire hallway was filled with Christmas gifts. Giant teddy bears, fancy toys, warm coats, candy sets, expensive books, and glittering decorations. 2 sets of gifts. 1 pile for me, 1 pile for Rin. No name written, no message. But I knew. Lucian's door was closed, but I could feel him behind it. Awake, watching, listening, pretending he wasn't the one who sent everything. Even though he did. And for the first time, he was the one trying to reach me. I woke up that morning feeling strange. For months, Lucian never cared what time I woke up, or if I was even alive. But now, things were different. It was small things at first. He walked slower when I walked near him. He sometimes looked away when my eyes met his. And when he spoke to Rin, his voice was softer than before. Confused me. Scared me too. I sat at the dining table with Rin on my lap. The morning sun came through the tall windows and made the white table shine. Rin kicked his little feet and giggled when I kissed his cheek. I loved mornings like this. Quiet, warm, safe. But today something new happened. Lucian came downstairs early. He never woke up early. He always left the house before breakfast, without a word. But today he walked into the dining room, still wearing his black suit. His silver eyes sharp like cold ice. His hair was still wet from a shower, and he smelled like clean soap and winter wind. He stopped when he saw me and Rin. Rin looked up at him and smiled. "Lucy," he said in his small voice. Lucian froze. He didn't move for a whole second. His eyes went wide for a moment before he hid it. He looked at Rin as if he didn't know what to do. Then Rin said the word that made my heart stop. "Papa." Lucian's hand on his coffee cup tightened. For a moment I thought he would correct Rin, or walk away, or say something cold like he always did. But he didn't. He just stood there, frozen, with his eyes stuck on Rin. Then, slowly he sat beside me. Very close. So close that his knee brushed mine under the table. I felt a shock go up my leg. I looked at him surprised, but he didn't look back. He kept staring at Rin like Rin was the softest thing in the world. Confused me even more. Why was he doing this? Why now? Why after I had already stopped hoping? I looked down at my plate and tried not to think too much. But my heart kept beating faster, like it knew something big was happening. After breakfast, Lucian left for work. He paused at the doorway and looked back at me like he wanted to say something. His lips even parted. But then he closed them again, turned, and walked out. And I stood there holding Rin, my heart warm and hurting at the same time. 2 days later, we attended his company Christmas gala together. I didn't know why he wanted me there. He just said, "You'll come with me." His voice was cold, like always, but his eyes were not. His eyes looked serious, a little angry, maybe jealous. I wasn't sure. I wore a soft white sweater and black pants. Simple. I didn't like flashy clothes. Lucian, on the other hand, looked like he stepped out of a magazine. His black suit fit him perfectly. His silver eyes glowed under the lights. Everyone stared at him when we walked in. And then they stared at me. Women whispered. Men looked surprised. People smiled at me like I was the lucky one. But Lucian looked irritated. Every time someone spoke to me, he narrowed his eyes. Every time I smiled at a guest, he stepped closer. And every time someone complimented me, he touched me. A hand on my waist. His palm on my lower back. His fingers brushing my arm. Each touch was quick and small, but my body felt every single one. I kept telling myself not to react. But my heart didn't listen. It jumped and thumped inside my chest like a trapped bird. Lucian-san, your husband is so sweet, one of the women said with a giggle. Lucian's hand tightened on my waist. I know, he said, voice deep. I turned to him, shocked. His eyes slid to mine. A warning. Promise. Something hot passed between us. Something I didn't know how to name. The gala felt hotter after that. Every breath felt warmer. Every hallway seemed smaller. When we walked through the crowd, he stayed too close. His hand on my back guided me like he owned me. Sometimes he leaned down and whispered things in my ear. Stay close. You don't need to smile at them. You're with me. His breath touched my skin each time, and my face heated so much I felt dizzy. Why was he doing this? Why was he acting like a real husband now? Why only after I stopped chasing him? My emotions twisted inside me all night. Happiness, fear, anger, longing, all mixed like a storm. After dinner, I stepped outside to breathe. The balcony was quiet, cold, beautiful. Christmas lights glowed from the buildings below, painting the night in soft colors. I leaned on the railing and closed my eyes. I needed a break from Lucian's warmth. But I didn't get one, because the door opened behind me, and footsteps came closer. Strong, slow steps. Steps I knew too well. Lucian. He stopped right behind me, so close that I felt the heat of his chest on my back. The cold wind blew around us, but his presence was warm and heavy. I swallowed hard and kept looking at the city lights. Haruto, he said in a low voice. I didn't turn. He moved closer, his hands sliding to the railing on both sides of me, trapping me in. My breath hitched. My back touched his chest. His warmth spread into me, almost too much. Why did you come out here? He asked. I needed air, I whispered. From me. His voice held something sharp. I said nothing. He moved closer, his lips almost touching my ear. Don't let anyone else look at you like that. My breath stopped. You're my husband, he said, voice deep and rough. Only mine. His words went straight through me. My heart beat so fast it hurt. I turned slowly to face him. His eyes were dark. Not with anger, but something deeper, hotter, something that made my knees weak. Why are you doing this? I whispered. He didn't answer. Instead, he reached up slowly and touched my cheek. His hand was warm, too warm. My eyes fluttered shut. I felt like melting, like falling. He leaned in. His forehead touched mine. His breath hit my lips. Every inch of my body trembled. I felt his hand slide to my waist and pull me closer. So close our chests touched. So close I could feel his heart beating too fast. He whispered, Haruto. He was going to kiss me. I knew it. He knew it. The world held its breath. And then, Papa. Ren's tiny voice shot through the night like a bell. Lucian froze. I gasped and stepped back, my face burning. Ren ran onto the balcony, his small arms open wide. I picked him up quickly and held him close. My heart still beat wild in my chest. Lucian looked away, jaw tight, eyes burning with something dark and frustrated. Ren hugged my neck. Papa, look, there are lights. I forced a smile and kissed his head. Yes, Ren, they're beautiful. Lucian stood there watching us, his expression strange. Hurt, jealous, hungry. I didn't know what tonight meant. I only knew one thing. Lucian Kurigane, the cold billionaire who ignored me for months, almost kissed me under the Christmas lights. and part of me wished Ren had come 1 second later. I woke up that morning with a strange feeling in my chest. For months, Lucian had acted like I wasn't even living in the same house with him. But now, things were changing. Slowly, quietly, and it confused me so much that my heart felt tight all the time. I walked into the kitchen, expecting the usual silence. But instead, I smelled something burning. Smoke filled the air. I blinked hard, thinking maybe a fire had started. But no. Lucian stood by the stove, wearing an apron over his expensive suit. The apron had a tiny snowman on the front, and it looked funny on someone so serious. His eyebrows were pulled down in pure stress, and the pan in front of him was black, completely black. "Lucian," I asked softly. He turned around so fast, like he had been caught doing something wrong. His cheeks looked a little red, and I didn't think I had ever seen that before. "I was trying," he said, clearing his throat. His deep voice sounded stiff, like he wasn't used to explaining himself. "Breakfast, for Rin. And you." I stared at the ruined eggs in the pan. Then I stared at him. He was trying. He was really trying. Something warm spread through my chest, and it scared me, because I wanted to hold on to anger. I wanted to keep distance. I didn't want to fall again. But he looked at me like he cared, like he wanted to be seen. "It's okay," I whispered. "We can just make new ones." Lucian nodded, but his eyes stayed on me for a long moment, and the look in them made my stomach twist. It felt like he was finally looking at me as his husband, not as a stranger. Later that night, he helped Run with a bedtime story. I stood at the door and watched as Lucian held the book awkwardly in his large hands. His voice was deep and calm as he read slowly, trying not to mess up the words. Ren leaned on his shoulder like it was the most natural thing in the world. Lucian's face softened in a way I had never seen before. He was trying so hard. My heart kept pulling toward him, even though I knew I shouldn't let it. When Ren fell asleep, Lucian placed the book on the table and looked up at me. "I waited for you," he said quietly. "You came home late." I swallowed. "I had work." He nodded, jaw tight. I didn't like waiting. Something in his voice made my breath catch. It sounded almost jealous, almost needy. The air between us grew warm and heavy, but I turned away before it swallowed me whole. The truth was, the tension between us kept growing. Every time our eyes met, something sparked. Every time he stood too close, my throat went dry. Every time he reached out to help me, my heart beat too fast. I tried to ignore it, but it became impossible on that snowy night. I went outside to throw away some boxes when the snow began to fall harder. The wind was sharp, biting into my skin. I wrapped my arms around myself and hurried across the yard. Too fast. My foot slipped. My heart jumped to my throat, and I felt myself falling backward. But before I hit the ground, arms grabbed me. Strong arms. Warm arms. Lucian. He held me tight against his chest, his hands gripping me as if I would disappear. Snow fell around us, coating our hair and shoulders. His breath hit my cheek, warm and shaky. I looked up. His face was only inches away. His eyes, those cold silver eyes, were soft now. Too soft. They burned with something deep and lonely. His hands trembled where they held me. "Be careful," he whispered. His voice cracked, like he was scared of losing me. My breath shook as I whispered, "You caught me." His fingers tightened at my waist. "I will always catch you." I felt something inside me break, like a wall I had been holding for months. "Lucian." My voice trembled. He lowered his head. His forehead touched mine. His breath mixed with mine. The heat of him soaked into me until I felt dizzy. "I've wanted you from the start," he whispered. His voice was low and raw. "But I didn't know how to love someone." My eyes filled with tears. They fell before I could stop them. He lifted a hand and wiped them away with his thumb, so gentle it almost hurt. "I'm sorry," he said, voice shaking. "I should have shown you. I should have tried sooner." A soft cry escaped me. I didn't mean to make it, but it came out anyway, because hearing those words, they broke me in a good way and a painful way at the same time. His thumb brushed my cheek again, slow and tender. Haruto! He whispered my name like it meant something precious to him. Please look at me. I did. I looked into his eyes. And in that moment, everything inside me, hurt, hope, fear, love, became one storm. Lucian leaned in slowly, giving me time to stop him. Time to turn away. But I couldn't. His lips touched mine. Soft at first. Scared. Unsure. I felt the warmth of his breath. The shape of his mouth. The cold snow melting on our skin. My heart felt too full, too tight, like it might burst. Kissed him back. For the first time. His hands slid up my back, gripping gently but firmly, pulling me closer. The kiss grew deeper, warmer. His lips pressed harder against mine, like he had been waiting for this moment for a long time. My knees felt weak. My hands grabbed his coat, pulling him nearer, needing his warmth. Lucian groaned quietly against my lips, a low sound that made heat race down my spine. He wrapped an arm around me, lifting me slightly off the ground like I weighed nothing. His body was hot, solid, and he held me as if I belonged there. The snow fell harder. The world felt quiet except for our breaths. When the kiss finally broke, we were both shaking. Lucian rested his forehead against mine again. His lips were red. His eyes looked almost desperate. "Don't run from me anymore," he whispered. "Please." I swallowed, chest rising too fast. I don't want to." His eyes softened even more, so much emotion that it made my throat tighten. "Come inside," he said softly. "You're freezing." But he didn't let go of me even as we walked. His arms stayed around my waist, holding me close. His body heat soaked into me like fire. We went upstairs together. For the first time, the house was quiet. The lights were soft and warm. Lucian's hand stayed on me the whole time, like he was afraid I might vanish. In my room, he helped take off my snow-wet coat. His fingers brushed my neck, slow and gentle, sending shivers through me. We didn't say anything. He just held my face in both hands and kissed me again. Soft and slow this time. A kiss full of feelings he had never shown before. My hands slid over his chest. I could feel his heart beating fast under my palms. He pulled me closer, resting his forehead on my shoulder, holding me as if he needed me to breathe. "Stay with me tonight," he whispered. I nodded. He lifted me gently, laying me down on the bed beside him. We curled together under the blanket, his arms around me, his breath warm on my neck. No coldness, no distance, just warmth. For the first time since our marriage, I didn't feel lonely. Lucian held me close, his hand gripping mine tight, and I fell asleep in his arms. The first thing I felt that morning was warmth. Real warmth. Not the heat from the big mansion heater, but the weight of Lucian's arm around my waist and the slow, steady breath against the back of my neck. Felt strange. Felt shocking. Felt too good. My heart beat a little too fast, like it was scared and happy at the same time. For a moment I didn't move. I was scared that if I breathed too loud he would pull away. I couldn't believe we had fallen asleep like this. His chest pressed to my back, his arm around me like he didn't want to let go, even in his sleep. It felt like a dream I had never allowed myself to dream. Before I could think more, the door burst open. "Papa! Daddy! Wake up!" Ren jumped straight onto the bed like a tiny ball of joy. The mattress shook and Lucian's body pressed closer into mine for a second before he woke up. Lucian made a low sound in his throat, half asleep, deep and warm. I felt his arm tighten around my waist before he remembered where he was. Then he pulled back just a little but not fully. His hand still rested on my hip. Ren crawled right between us, laughing. "You slept together. Both of you. I found you." His smile was so bright it hurt my chest. He looked so happy, like this was the best Christmas gift he could ever get. Lucian sat up slowly. His hair was messy. His eyes were softer than I had ever seen. When he looked at Ren, his walls fell. When he looked at me, something else melted too. Something deeper. "Good morning, Ren," Lucian said. His voice was lower in the morning, rough and warm. Ren climbed onto his lap without hesitation. Lucian lifted him easily, placing him on his knee. The sight made my heart pull tight. Lucian looked like a real father. Ren looked like he finally belonged. Lucian glanced at me again, eyes warm. "Good morning, Haruto." My face heated. I whispered back, "Good morning." For a few seconds, the room was quiet. Peaceful. Almost too peaceful. Then Ren clapped his hands. "It's Christmas morning. Can we open gifts now?" Lucian's lips curled just a little. "In a minute. Have something for your papa first." My breath caught. He turned to me fully. Ren stayed on his lap, but Lucian reached out with his free hand. There was something small and dark in his palm. A little velvet box. I stared at it, frozen. He opened it. Inside was a simple silver ring, smooth and shining, with a tiny engraving on the inside. I squinted to read it. "My warmth." My heart squeezed so hard it hurt. Lucian exhaled like he was scared. I had never seen him look scared. His voice dropped, softer than snow. "Haruto, stay with me." He held the ring like it was the most important thing he ever owned. "Not because of the contract. Not because we share a house." His eyes locked on mine. Strong. Sure. Full of something that almost looked like fear. "Stay with me because you are the only warmth I want for the rest of my life." My throat closed. Tears filled my eyes before I could stop them. The words hit me so hard my chest felt too small to hold everything inside. I tried to breathe, but it came out shaky. I don't know what to say," I whispered. Lucian shook his head slowly. "Say yes." His voice cracked just a little. "Please." It was the first time he ever said please to me. Ren looked between us with big eyes. "Papa? Are you gonna say yes?" "Say yes." I wiped my eyes. My hands shook as I reached for Lucian's hand. "Yes," I breathed. "Yes, Lucian. I'll stay." Lucian closed his eyes for a second, like he was letting out months of tight, hidden feelings. When he opened them, they were softer than snow melting under sun. He slid the ring onto my finger. His hand trembled. Mine trembled too. Rin squealed and hugged both of us at the same time, wrapping his little arms around our necks. "Now we're a real family," he shouted. Lucian pulled Ren into a full hug, lifting him with one arm like he weighed nothing. Then he reached out with his free hand and touched my cheek. His thumb wiped a tear I didn't realize was still falling. "Come here, my son," he whispered to Ren. When he said my son, Ren froze, then smiled so big it lit the whole room. I felt myself crumble inside. That one sentence was something Ren had needed his whole life, and something I never thought Lucian would say. We moved to the living room, where the Christmas tree glowed soft gold. The lights reflected off the windows, making the whole place look like a warm world inside a cold winter night. Lucian sat with Ren on the floor, helping him open presents. Carefully, gently, with a focus I had never seen in him before. Ren laughed every time Lucian reacted to a gift with fake shock or a small smile. I watched from the couch, my hand over my heart, trying to breathe through the emotions hitting me again and again. Lucian kept looking at me. Small glances, soft glances, like he was checking if I was still there, like he needed me to be. At one point, Ren held up a toy car and said, "Daddy, look!" Lucian took it, nodded seriously and said, "Very fast car, just like you." Ren giggled and threw himself into Lucian's lap again. I felt tears prick my eyes, but this time they weren't from pain. They were from something warm, something I hadn't felt in a long, long time. When the gifts were opened, Lucian walked over to me. He held out his hand. "Come," he said softly. "Let's take a picture." We stood in front of the Christmas tree. Ren stood between us, holding our hands, bouncing with excitement. A maid took the picture while we posed. But then something happened that wasn't posed. Lucian slid his arm around my waist. He didn't look at the camera. He looked at me, like I was the only light in the room. I felt my face heat up. My heart beat fast. My hands shook slightly, but I leaned into him. I didn't stop myself, because this time, it felt right. The flash went off. Ren laughed and asked for another picture. Then another. Soon we had so many photos that I knew I would look at them forever. Later that night, when Run fell asleep on the couch between us, Lucian pulled a blanket over him. Then he turned toward me and lowered his voice to a soft whisper. Haruto. I turned to him. His eyes were warm, honest. All of this, I want it for life, he said. With you, with him, with us. My breath trembled. I touched the ring on my finger. I want that too, I whispered. Lucian reached out slowly, giving me time to pull away. I didn't. His hand touched my cheek, warm and gentle. He leaned his forehead against mine. Our breaths mixed. Our hearts felt too close. Everything felt right. Everything felt like home. We stayed like that for a long time, breathing the same soft air, listening to Ren's quiet, sleepy sounds, and the gentle hum of Christmas lights filling the room. And for the first time in my life I felt full, not of fear, not of sadness, but of love. My final thought that night was simple, soft, and true. This Christmas, I didn't just get love, I got a home. Thank you so much for watching this heartwarming Christmas BL story. We hope you enjoyed every steamy, emotional moment with Haruto, Lucian, and Little Run. Don't forget to like, comment your favorite scene, and subscribe to our channel Cherryboyheart for more exciting BL stories and romantic adventures. Your support means the world to us.